This is perfect for the New York Rangers as they've made a pretty surprising PTO signing, and with rookie camp well underway, we have some shocking comments from some prospects about this upcoming season. We're going to break all of that down, but before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 70% of you watching our videos are not actually subscribed to the channel. It's free, and you get to stay up to date with everything New York Rangers, guys, and thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. Rookie camp is well underway and the season is right around the corner. It's very exciting, and today we're going to dive into a couple topics, including rookie camp as mentioned, and of course the Rangers signing Erne and what that means for the team and why I think it's a good signing, why he could potentially make the team. More on that later in the video, but we're going to dive into, first of all, rookie camp and Brennan Othmann, his comments, and some other pretty shocking comments from another prospect who I think could make some noise this season. We'll get into that in just a bit. Now, this is an article from Forever Blue Shirts. Brennan Othmann is confident he can handle himself with the New York Rangers in the NHL this season. And now, doing some media at rookie camp so far, he's come out and basically said that he feels like he's done some good work in Hartford so far, and he feels like he can play at the NHL level full time this season. And I think he can too. He's put on a lot of weight, which was another topic of conversation yesterday. And I think he can be maybe not a difference maker, but a pretty pivotal part for the Rangers throughout the regular season this year. And anyway, let's dive into it. It's not going to be easy for Othmann to secure a spot on the opening night roster. Of course, there's so many players fighting for spots this year. He is going to need a great camp and an even better preseason showing to prove to the staff that he's ready for this season and ready for this jump to the NHL full time. Even should Othmann begin the season in Hartford, there's a feeling that he's close to being an NHL player and soon. And I think that, worst case scenario, he does start the year in the AHL, but I feel like we'll be seeing a lot of Othmann this season. And I mean, best case scenario, he has a really good camp. He finishes rookie camp strong because he's looking great in rookie camp anyway so far. And he makes the team out of camp. So obviously he would prefer for that to be sooner rather than later. And we'll dive into a quote here from Brennan Othmann. He said, this was yesterday when he was doing some media at the first day of rookie camp, which is underway now, which is pretty exciting for the Rangers. He said, I think knowing that I can do it, being able to play at a level and that pace, knowing that I can play at that capacity, I think, and play with the players there. Othmann said on Wednesday, I can handle myself. And when he says I can handle myself, he says that meaning he can play in the NHL. This player feels like he can play in the NHL and right now, like he can dive right in and make a difference. And like I mentioned again before, he's the heaviest he's ever been. So he's putting on weight, he's putting on muscle. He wants to play in the NHL. He wants to make a difference. And I think that's a good thing because there are, a lot of prospects through the years that come through the system, not just with the Rangers, but in the NHL in general, who almost seem like they don't want to be there. So this guy is trying so hard to make the NHL team, and I think that's great. That's some healthy competition, and it just shows that he wants to get better. He's eager to be in the Rangers lineup and help them win, and I think that's a good thing. If you're a Rangers fan, I think, so much to love about this guy, this player, and I feel like there's a lot of potential and upside there, and he wants to get better, much like Matt Rempe. I love Matt Rempe's attitude. Obviously, he was put in the lineup for a reason, but now he wants to get better in a bunch of different areas. So I love that attitude, and I love that they're talking about that at rookie camp so far this season. And to pivot away from Brennan Othmann, there is another prospect, Adam Edstrom, and you might remember him from last season. We'll get to it in a second, but he says, I really want to get back, and he is eyeing a spot on the New York Rangers opening night roster after playing 11 games last season. And he had a pretty impressive showing in a way. Obviously wasn't ready for the NHL yet, but he came in with some injuries and whatnot and to be given a chance. But anyway, you may remember him from the same game that Rempe debuted in, which is hilarious. And he, obviously you got to see all of that. And with Rempe fighting Matt Martin and starting, that chain of fights, that was fun. And, he was able to score 2 goals in his 11 games. So this is another prospect, maybe not ready yet, but another one who's hungry to be, getting better. He wants to learn as much as he can in the AHL and get to, the NHL. He wants to see some time in the NHL again, and I think that's a great thing. So we'll get into a quote from Adam here as well. It was great, Edstrom said on Wednesday. It was a dream to play in the NHL, just getting there. Packed MSG. It was special. It was a special feeling. I really want to get back. And of course, I think that he will see some time again this year. Obviously over the course of a season, there's injuries, nagging injuries. The Rangers are an older team per se. So like a lot of guys are getting older into their 30s. So there is potential to see this player again at the NHL level this year. And I think that's exciting because he wants to be there. So that's fun. I think that's a good thing. And, keeping tabs on some other prospects as well. This is a guy who I'm very excited for. I don't think he's, going to touch the NHL quite yet, but Adam Sikora plays so much bigger than his size. This is from Molly Walker again, by the way, who does a fantastic job covering the team, and he plays much bigger than his size. The kid is fearless and attacks every challenge head on, and I love that. Need more of that on the Rangers, and he's coming. So in due time, we will see this player on the team. Now to pivot again to probably the biggest news right now outside of rookie camp for the Rangers is the Rangers have signed Adam Erne, a bottom six forward, to a PTO for training camp. So they're bringing this player in on a tryout. And I think this is pretty interesting because they're bringing in a player like Adam Erne probably doesn't move the needle and maybe doesn't even get into the lineup every night if he is signed. But he's a guy who brings NHL experience, right? Which is, I think, the Rangers are trying to fill out their lineup with, Brennan Othmann, who I think can see time in the NHL this year. But bringing in a guy like this is very interesting because he's played in the NHL at the NHL level for a long time. Not really necessarily a scorer, but they're bringing in guys to fight for spots. And I think that's a good thing because it's going to create healthy competition in camp. And everyone's going to have to fight for their spot. And whoever takes those spots in the lineup is really going to earn them. And I think that's a good thing. You don't want to go into camp with everyone kind of knowing where they're going to play and everyone's comfortable. So this, I think, is more of a move in that way. I wouldn't say he's really a needle mover or makes a huge difference for the Rangers in that way. But, he is 29 years old. He spent some time with the Edmonton Oilers last year. We can get into his stats a little bit too, but he didn't spend too much time in the NHL last year. Actually, a pretty decent sample size, but in terms of points, didn't do much, right? And we can get into his stats right now, actually. He played 24 games for the Edmonton Oilers last year. He's 6'1", right? Not necessarily a huge body in that way. He's not a Matt Rempe or anything like that. He's 29 years old. He's played in the NHL at the NHL level for quite some time. And again, didn't have much usage at the NHL level last year besides 24 games due to injury for the Edmonton Oilers. Doesn't put up too many points, but looking towards a defensive side of the game here. And again, he's a guy who has experience playing in the NHL. The Rangers have a lot of rookies who don't. So maybe, over the course of the season, if they were to sign Adam Erne to a standard agreement, maybe Chris Drury feels like, if they run into injury trouble, he'd rather a guy who's played in the NHL. I'm not sure exactly what the plan is here. I feel like it's to create more healthy competition in camp because this is a guy who wants an NHL contract and maybe he's, wanting to play better than the rookies. Healthy competition, I think, is a good thing. So I feel like that's a move more in that direction, which is fine. He's a rugged forward, right? He's another guy that you can use in the playoffs. Could be, we talked a lot about Sam Carrick. He has lots of use like that in the playoffs as well. So it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of prospects who are going to be fighting for those spots, I think. And then you still have guys like Will Cooley, right? For example, mentioned here, Matt Rempe, who are going to want to, up their game, stay in the lineup. So it's going to be a very interesting training camp as we move and pivot out of rookie camp here. So let me know what you think of the PTO signing. Let me know if you think Brendan Othmann is going to make the opening night roster. I think it's very close. I think it really depends on his training camp coming up here, not just rookie camp, because I expect him to play really well in rookie camp. And let me know about Edstrom as well in the comments. I think, he has potential to be a guy that they call up here and there and can make a difference, right? Another big body as well. So it's going to be a fun season. Let me know what you think of those guys in the comments. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.